What if I told you? The biggest threat to your wealth isn't a recession, isn't unemployment, isn't even corruption. The real danger is something far quieter, something subtle. Something that doesn't need your permission. It's a tactic so old, so cleverly disguised, that most people don't even realize it's happening. Until one day they wake up and everything costs more, while their income stays the same. Today, we're re-exploring the covert inflation tactics silently draining your purchasing power, a system engineered to be invisible, yet powerful enough to shape your entire financial future without you even noticing. But here's the twist. Inflation isn't always an accident. In many cases, it's a strategy. And the deeper we go, the darker it gets. Inflation at its core is simple. When governments print more money, each unit becomes worth less. But that's the kindergarten explanation. The real story begins centuries ago, long before modern central banks. Kings, emperors, and rulers discovered something dangerous. If you control the money, you control the people. In ancient Rome, emperors diluted silver coins with cheaper metals. Prices rose. Citizens suffered. The empire weakened. But the emperors? They gained more spending power for a while. Fast forward to the early 1900s. Nations discovered that inflation could fund wars, rebuild economies, and influence global power. But behind these actions were financial architects, key figures who understood how to manage inflation in ways that helped governments, not the public. This wasn't incompetence. It was intention. And throughout history, inflation became less of a side effect and more of a tool. The modern inflation playbook truly begins in 1913 with the creation of the Federal Reserve, America's central bank. Its mission? To stabilize the economy. Its power? To create money out of nothing. From that moment, governments unlocked a new cheat code. Instead of raising taxes, which makes people angry, they could print money quietly. People would feel poorer but wouldn't know why. This strategy was deployed during World War I and II, the Great Depression, rebuilding Europe, multiple banking crises. Each time, the logic was the same. Print first, explain later. But the twist? Every new dollar printed devalues every dollar already saved. Your money loses power the moment another one is created. That's the hidden cost no one tells you about. By the 1970s, inflation wasn't just a tool. It was a monster. Oil shocked the world. Governments panicked. Printing accelerated. This era introduced a dangerous idea. Managed inflation is good for the economy. Who said this? Central bankers. Economists. Financial elites. Why? Because small, constant inflation helps governments repay debt more easily. Think of it like this. If a government owes $1 trillion, and inflation quietly reduces the value of that debt, it gets cheaper to repay. But for the public, your savings lose value, your paycheck buys less. Your financial future gets squeezed. Inflation became the perfect silent tax. No protests, no headlines, no accountability, just everyday people slowly getting poorer. The first major shock came in the late 1970s. Inflation hit 14%, interest rates skyrocketed. Families couldn't afford homes, savings evaporated. But this was just the warm-up. Decades later, 2008 happened. Governments created trillions to save failing banks. People lost jobs, homes, hope. But the system learned something important. They could print unlimited money and get away with it. Then came 2020, trillions printed in months. Stimulus checks. Emergency programs, massive government spending. And once again the public believed it was help, the real cost. Inflation exploded. Food prices surged. Rent skyrocketed. Wages stayed flat. But the people responsible? They claimed it was temporary. This wasn't inflation by accident. This was inflation by design. Inflation doesn't hit all at once, it attacks slowly. Like water leaking into a house. First the groceries get expensive. Then utilities rise. Then rent climbs. Then savings become worthless. Then people take on debt just to survive. And once debt rises, the system becomes even more profitable for banks and governments. Here's the shocking part. Most people don't even understand how much they've lost. Because inflation steals quietly, a dollar earned 20 years ago lost over 40% of its power. Rent has increased over 150% in major cities. Home prices have risen faster than wages every decade. The average worker today needs More hours to buy the same goods compared to 1980. Inflation isn't a number, it's a lifestyle downgrade. One you didn't choose. Every time inflation spikes, governments announce solutions. Raise interest rates, create new policies, tighten spending, introduce new banking rules, but the truth, these aren't solutions. They're distractions. History shows, after every crisis, debt grows. After every fix, money supply increases. After every promise, inflation returns. Because the goal was never to eliminate inflation. The goal was to manage it, just enough to benefit the system, never the people. Governments need inflation. Banks profit from inflation. Corporations adjust to inflation. Only one group suffers: everyday citizens trying to survive. Look at what's happening today. $50 today buys what $29 did in 2000. Global debt is at highs over $315 trillion. 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Food inflation is the highest in 45 years. CEO salaries outpaced worker wages 340 to 1. During inflation peaks, history is repeating itself. And the pattern is always the same. Crisis hits, government prints money. Prices rise, public struggles, system strengthens, the covert tactics continue. Shrinkflation, hidden fees, energy surcharges, reduced quantities, new pricing models, wages lagging behind inflation. Inflation is no longer just economic, it's psychological. It's designed so you accept less while paying more. 1. Inflation is not an accident. It's a strategy. Throughout history, governments have used inflation as a silent tax to manage debt and maintain control. 2. The real danger is hidden inflation, not reported inflation. The inflation you see on the news is only half the truth. The real losses are in housing, food, healthcare, and savings. 3. Your financial future depends on awareness. Understanding inflation gives you power. Ignoring it guarantees loss. If you think things are normal, they're not. If you think inflation will disappear on its own, it won't. And if you believe your savings are safe, they're slowly evaporating. The system isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as designed. The only question is, will you learn how it works or become another silent victim of it? If this video opened your eyes, share it. Someone else needs to hear this today. And if you want more deep, documentary, style breakdowns on money, power, and financial manipulation, subscribe. Because understanding the system is the first step to protecting yourself from it.